Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. Tuesday, June 8th. Town of Grand Rapids board meeting at the fire station. The first items will be a public hearing before we start our regular meeting. The first one is part of Arcadia Avenue. I'll have the clerk read the notice.
Hey, this is for a part of Acacia Avenue.
Acacia.
Yep, an undeveloped east-west portion of Acacia Avenue from its point of intersection with Golf Course Road to a point 266.62 feet east where said road intersects Country Lane, said portion of road being 30 feet wide and more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the northwest corner of Lot 1 of CSM 9399, said point being the point of beginning, thence along the easterly right-of-way line of Golf Course Road on a bearing of north 0 degrees 58 feet 0 inches west, a distance of 30 feet. Thence along the north right-of-way line of Acacia Avenue on a bearing of south 89 degrees 27 feet 1 inch east, a distance of 266.62 feet. Thence along the west right-of-way line of Country Lane on a bearing of south 1 degree 1 foot 38 inches east, a distance of 30 feet. Then south 89 degrees 27 feet 1 inch west, a distance of 266.62 feet to the point of beginning, being situated in Government Lot 3 in the southwest quarter of the Section 19, Township 22 north of Range 6 East in the town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin.
Thank you. If you understood this is a abandonment of a portion of road where the other portion was previously abandoned. Is that correct, Nick?
That is correct. I'll just make a couple comments.
Sure,
so this item is set for a public hearing tonight through the town board's adoption of a preliminary resolution. You may recall that there was a request from the abutting property owners to consider discontinuing this. This is, as the chairman noted, the north portion of road. The public way to the south of that had already been discontinued previously. Notice of tonight's public hearing was published as a Class 3 notice as required by law. Notice of tonight's public hearing was also mailed to all abutting property owners. Along with that notice, we did include copies of the preliminary and proposed final resolution. Along with that, a lis pendens was recorded with the county's Register of Deeds.
Thank you. And as the hearing is public, I will ask those that wish to speak against it first 3 times, and then anybody wishing to speak in favor of it 3 times. After that, we'll close it and move to our second public hearing. So anybody wishing to speak against the discontinuation of that section of road? Second call, anybody wishing to speak against the discontinuation process? Third and final time, anybody wishing to speak against the discontinuation process? Hearing none wishing to speak against, is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of? Second call, is there anybody wish to speak in favor of? Third and final call, is there anybody wish to speak in favor of the discontinuation? Hearing none, I'll call that public hearing closed. Move to the next public hearing, and that one is to change Ordinance 52 regulating zoning to make a minor correction on language. Do you have the notice, clerk?
This is for Ordinance 52 regulating zoning, the amendment of Section 52.4 D related to conditional use standards for accessory buildings being different between R1, R2, and R2S.
And I'll ask our attorney, Nick, to give us a brief description.
Yeah, just generally, this makes consistent between the noted districts the accessory building requirement. As was discovered at legislative committee, one of our districts, R1, had a different accessory building allowance versus R2 and R2S. This just makes it consistent across the board.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against this ordinance change? Anybody wish to speak against the ordinance change? Third and final time, anybody wish to speak against the changing amendment to the ordinance? Hearing none, anybody wish to speak in favor of? Second call, anybody wish to speak in favor of? Third and final call, anybody wish to speak in favor of? Hearing none, I'll call that public hearing closed at 6:05. move to our regular agenda item. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you care to join us back right behind you there. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 2, approval of the agenda. Hearing no comments. Item 3, approved minutes from May 11th, 2021 Town Board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Patty, second by
I'll second.
Amber. Any discussion on it? Corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Item 4 is our public comment period. People who are wishing to address this board are limited to 2 minutes each. Public comment limited to a total of no more than 30 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak? Go ahead and way in the back first.
Yeah, two things. The BudSmart situation, if the contamination over there has been taken care of, or the whatever is happening over there. And the other thing is on item 17, the fireworks. On Ordinance 55, I would hope that the town board would either give some guidance to the police department or to enforce Ordinance 55 along with the fees, because I don't think it's fair to the police officers when they constantly return to the same place when fireworks are being blown off. And last year, it wasn't just sparklers and that, it was these big cannon-like things. And, you know, they go away, 5 minutes later, they're at it again. And, you know, I just think that it's time that they can start fining people, put some teeth into this. Because I don't think it's ever gonna be resolved otherwise, so.
Okay, your comment, was there somebody else in the back? No other public comments? Okay, we'll move on, thank you. Oh, I just thought there was one behind, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to be on record about the Metalco industry over there, the noise level. I know I talked to you a couple weeks ago and you said that this is being taken care of, but I just wanted to be on record so that something, make sure something is done about that, because it's affecting our quality of life over there and it's lowering our property values, and it's a real problem. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you for your comment. When I get to my comments, I will update you.
Okay, thank you.
What is your name
Dave
for the
Johnson.
record?
David Johnson.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay, we'll move to monthly reports then. Fire Department Chief Robert Pike.
Evening, board and residents. We're currently staffed with 49 fire EMS members, 5 are non-structural, 5 are EMS only, total of 20 trained to do EMS. We're always looking for motivated individuals. If you're interested, come see me or call the town. Since the last report to the board, the department has responded to 33 calls for service, consisting of the following. There was 23 EMS calls, and there was 10 fire calls, which were 5 structures, 2 wildland, a gas leak, a vehicle fire, and two of those 10 were mutual aid with Rapids, the Craft Mill fire and the Riverwood fire. Last month for training for EMS, we covered heat exposures and heat emergencies. And on the fire side, we did live Project Lifesaver drills out in the field. And then I also had 9 people, the Grand Rapids PD, put on that CN Railroad training for us this last month. And they did one side for fire and EMS, and they did the other side for law enforcement. So it was really a really worthwhile training. So thanks to Mel and his staff, Sergeant Drinkwine, and so yeah, I had 9 people attend that training as well that day. So we had 1 department meeting, 1 officer meeting, 5 training meetings. Our smoke detector program has resumed through the Red Cross. We've done 4 signs since the last report, and we did have 1 injury/incident report on May 14th with a firefighter. A report's filed to the clerk. So any
questions?
or comments?
Right?
Did you want to make the announcement of the Firemen's Picnic for this coming up weekend?
Oh, sure. This Saturday at the Grand Rapids Lions, we have our annual fireman celebration. So food and music and lawnmower races at I think those start at 4 o'clock. Cherry pie plays at 6:30. Be food and refreshments. So come on, come on.
Free parking all night, or is it only certain hours?
Oh, it's free if you get in before 5 o'clock. After 5 o'clock, it's $10 a carload or $5 a person. So that's to defray the expense of the band. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments? There are none, we'll move to Police Chief Mel Peterson. Way in the back. Oh, you got safety, you didn't have the safety, you did have the safety.
Yes, I did.
I apologize.
Okay, and then I have one thing with the safety then. I just want to say good job on getting our siren back up and running then. Did you end up having to repair a part, or was it just a reset?
It was a faulty battery in there, so I just replaced all the batteries.
Sweet,
So
nice fix.
yeah, what there's 1 small sealed cell battery in there, and that's what helps the memory system in it. And then what actually runs the siren, there's 2 12-volt deep cycle batteries in there, and one of those was reading good with a meter, but as soon as you put it under load, it dropped down to 7 volts. So once I put 2 brand new batteries in there,
It was done deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for taking care of it as soon as you did.
oh, no problem. Those are important.
Go ahead, Mel, thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. The Grand Rapids Police Department handled 319 calls for service during the month of May. This compares to 325 calls for service from last year, about a slight decrease, 1.8% decrease in calls, and everybody should have the breakdown of those calls. The police department issued 57 traffic citations, 13 municipal ordinance citations, and 45 written warnings during the month of May. Like Fire Chief Pyatt had mentioned, on May 13th, the Grand Rapids Police Department and the Grand Rapids Fire Department conducted railroad investigation and safety course training, as well as dangerous good awareness training here at the Grand Rapids Municipal Building and at the Grand Rapids Fire Department. And also we paid a visit to the Wisconsin Rapids Rail Yard. Training was provided by CNN Railroad Special Agent Klomensberger and CN safety personnel. Officers of the Grand Rapids Police Department conducted handgun qualifications at the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department range on May 17th. Officers completed the mandatory annual handgun qualification requirements as prescribed by the Wisconsin Department of Justice Training and Standards Bureau. On May 25th, we conducted Emergency Vehicle Operators Course, EVOC, at the Wisconsin Rapids Airport. Officers completed the mandatory biannual training as, again, prescribed by the Wisconsin Department of Justice Training and Standards Bureau. Vehicles in the department are doing well outside normal maintenance, minor repairs, and once again, feel free to stop by anytime and pay us a visit. Any questions?
One question, Mel. The tickets that were issued that are related to town ordinances, are those primary dog issues, or what are those?
In the month of May, yes, that was some of the remnants from people not getting their license that they were reminded to do at the beginning of the year. So out of those 13, and I don't have the breakdown, but the majority of those were dog licenses. We have some substantial yard ordinance violations going on this summer, and so throughout the summer you'll see quite a few yard, as people aren't taking care of their property or abandoned vehicles, to say junk vehicles. So those were taken care of this summer.
Thank you. Anybody else, William?
Yes, thanks. Yes, yes, Chief, I'd like to know about this railroad training that you did, investigating safety. My understanding is, especially in the city of Wisconsin Rapids, if anytime there's railroad cars left overnight, the police department knows what's in those, or it has to be reported.
That wasn't covered. I'm not aware
Oh,
of that
oh.
requirement.
So what did this training? Did you
Excuse me?
say?
No, I'd say.
Oh, so what did this training consist of?
Yeah, and that's a good point. The fire department side, they handled their training was consistent with the hazardous material, okay, that a train may be carrying. So ours was more training with when we're around say we're investigating a traffic accident, okay? When that train is supposedly sitting still on a track, it's still a big live machine that can hurt you or kill you. So the safety training we received is what to stay away from when we're operating around a train car or a train locomotive, so that we don't make matters worse by getting injured because of something we didn't know. So that was kind of the difference between the fire department's training and our training. But what you're talking about, Bill, that wasn't specifically covered from our standpoint, and that could be more related to what's in the train yards at Wisconsin Rapids overnight or whatever, and we don't have that here, so much.
Arnie mentioned something about, do we have an ordinance officer, or do we have somebody, how do you get the information that somebody has parked cars? Is there somebody that is assigned to that investigation, or?
Well, yeah, officers see vehicles that are parked, and they may have been parked there for months, they haven't moved, they got weeds growing up. A lot of our calls come in from the neighbors, complaining about the yards or junk vehicles. So, we could get, we get calls from just neighbors or people passing by complaining about it. Or, like I said, our officers drive around, and they look for that, absolutely.
So it's not it can be an anonymous call from a neighbor, or?
Any call can be anonymous, yep.
Okay, thank you.
I think some other ways the calls come in is through the email link that we have on our Facebook page, the info at Grand Rapids WI.
Yeah.
We get a lot of information inquiries about that. Some of them are looking for other types of information, but that's used consistently too.
Emails, calls directly to the admin staff up front, so we get those referrals from a number of different sources.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else? Well, thank you, Mel. And we have Treasurer Amy Cook here this evening that was going to tell us we got some money.
All right. Good evening. For the month of May, current month receipts were $51,449. Current month disbursements were $181,829. Cash on hand at the end of the month was $1,323,757, with $105,318 in checking and $916,020 in the Rebo account and $325,765 in the money market. Any questions?
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. Item 6, to consider a possible action on an event permit for Southwood County Humane Society 5K walk run on June 12th, 2021, and that's taking place around Lake Wazeecha, correct?
Yes.
Clerk, have we received everything on it that we're looking for,
We do.
insurance?
We have everything for this one.
Okay, that's a change in location for them, first time out there. Good place to go though. Any board discussion or comments or motions?
So who came to who to get this, you know?
His name, Mike
Oh.
Graper from the
Oh,
Humane
okay.
Society came to me.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Bill,
I'll second.
second by Amber. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Item 7, open and possible award of bids for chip sealing. Who do we have?
We've got two.
Did you bring your knife?
I did. It's prepared. Okay, first one is from Scott Construction. We have 2 total, so this one is from Scott Construction. And this one goes with.
Okay. Scott Construction chip sealing uses CRS 2P polymer modified liquid asphalt, 100% fractured rock from the Cork Torrey at a total cost of $113,659, and the rock sample was provided.
And the second one is from Farner.
Must have small rocks.
That's it.
Apparently, no sample was sent.
No.
Actually need bifocals back here to read this one. Well, that's the insurance policy. $134,297.75. Obviously, they did not provide the bid as specified, but they are substantially higher than Scott Construction. However, I would like to just have a recommendation that these are reviewed, because this is a joint project between Saratoga, Plover, Port Edwards, and Grand Rapids. So I'd like to share these with them before we actually award the agreement, if that's okay with the board.
Sure.
Do I have that motion?
That motion.
Thank you, Patty. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. Any other discussion? Here, thank you very much. Do you want to save these?
I got plenty.
Here for repairs.
Thank you. My wife could have a rock garden now.
There you go.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
So that moves us to number 8, correct?
Yes.
Consideration of possible action on resolution 2021-08, a final resolution for discontinuing an undeveloped portion of Arcadia. Acacia. I like Arcadia better. Town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin. That is number 8 on the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion is by Bill. Is there a second? Amber? Any other discussion? Let's see, all the costs were being paid for by the requesters, correct?
Pursuant to our policy, we will pass along the final cost to the requesters.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm opposed, no opposed? Number 9, consider a possible action on resolution 2021-10, amending ordinance 52, the zoning related to conditional use standards for accessory buildings being different between R1, R2, and R2S. And that was what was spoken to at the public hearing, just a minor change to make all districts the same.
Can we have just an explanation of all districts the same? I know it was setbacks, correct?
No, this one
Oh.
relates to accessory structures.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you recall, the accessory structures within R1 was different than R2 and R2S. And what I mean by that is, I believe it allowed in excess of 2 per parcel as a conditional use, only in R1. R2 and R2S both limited to the 2 accessory structures per parcel. We reviewed it at the legislative committee, and it was determined to make R1 consistent with R2 and R2S.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the change.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Jeremy. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I am an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed? Number 10, consider possible action resolution 2021-11, amending ordinance 61. Notice of records access, updating electronic storage devices, verbiage, and town board information. Nick, do you want to update us on that?
Sure. Just real brief that what we did was updated I would say fairly outdated listing that we had for town officials. In our update, what we did is actually just noted that a list will be maintained in the clerk's office of current town officials. Of course, we keep that on the website as well now. We also updated some of the verbiage as far as storage devices and the request of records on those storage devices.
Thank you. Basically, we dropped out floppy disks and a few other things, huh? All right, any discussion, interest in the board, or a motion?
I'll make that motion to
The
approve.
motion is by Patty, second by Amber. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I am an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Number 11, consider a possible action on resolution 2021-12, ordinance 29, regulating fermented beverage, malt beverages to allow Class B license holders to sell liquor by the glass for off-premise consumption if sealed with tamper-evident seal. And that was primarily a change from the state, is that correct?
That's right. So it was effective March 28, 2021. Specifically, it was 2021 Act 21 that is sometimes referred to as cocktails to go. We folded that into our section 29.12 to reflect exact wording that is now in state statute.
All right, thank you. Any motions?
I'll make that motion.
Patty? Jeremy? Your second? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have an aye. Opposed? No opposed. 12. Am I still going good on numbers?
You are.
All right.
Yep.
Consider a possible action on resolution 2021-13, amending ordinance 19, which town roads and right-of-ways related to driveways. And Nick, you want to give us the update on the highlight?
Yeah, just a general overview because there's quite a bit of different language in there, but it was primarily related to our driveway installation, alterations, and reconstruction standards. Of course, requiring the driveway permit, but it puts in place certain standards that were not specifically answered. So when a permit would be taken out, there would be some questions as to number of driveways and driveway widths and the like. So this now folds that in and sets clear standards for our driveways.
All right, thank you. Any comments? Motions?
I'll make that motion to approve this for discussion purposes.
Patty? Second by Amber. Discussion? Did you have something, Patty?
I did.
Go ahead.
After reviewing it probably 3 or 4 times, the first paragraph, the last sentence, and I'll just cut the last sentence short, it says, shall meet the following requirements and must be approved as to the location of by the town of Grand Rapids Public Works lead men. And I think what would be nice would be or appointed, because what if he's on vacation or on sick leave? There, according to the policy,
Sure.
there isn't an additional person.
Or his
That-
designee? Is that
Yeah.
what you'd like to
Mhm,
add
right.
with that
That would
language?
also,
be?
right, or his designee. And then also, that would also be in paragraph B, as in boy. And I did not see where that might have popped up again. And then I just want to comment too that the agenda items 9 through 12, just so that the public knows, because we sort of perused through them quite quickly, is that we had met as a legislative group and we spent a lot of time reviewing this, and just so you know, a lot of work went into these resolutions prior to this meeting.
We got our nickels worth in, didn't we?
We did.
All right, so Patty is offering a amendment. Do you want to make an amendment to that then? Is that what you're wanting to do, or do you want us
Yes.
just to come back with a clean one next month? We could table
No,
this.
we can go ahead and I'll make an amendment to my motion to add the words or designate.
Or their designee. Mhm. And that's in 2 spots.
Yes, into first
And is there a
paragraph.
second to that amendment?
I'll second that.
Bill? All right, is there any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment first. All in favor of the amended language, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Now we'll move on the motion as amended. And that was motion that was by
Patty?
Patty, and that was Jeremy for
Amber.
second.
Amber was the
Amber,
second.
okay. And all in favor of that as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Okay, thank you.
The word his designee is not going to be.
It's
there.
going
to-
His designee.
it's just going to
I know,
say
but it
or.
was mentioned.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
designee. as
Or
well.
their designee, I said, would be the language. All right, another thing we reviewed at our legislative was consider possible action on a proposed teleconference and video conferencing policy. And we've been working on that, trying to make it easiest. If we get into another pandemic, we may need to do Zoom meetings and the like, which most people don't like, including myself, but sometimes we may need to be forced into that. So we have drafted a ordinance, and Nick, you want to just touch it briefly?
Yep, just briefly, this policy does state that the general meeting policy is that meetings shall be in person. However, under certain circumstances where it's appropriate, virtual meetings or attendance by some or all of the members of a body may be needed. And so this policy sets in place those standards, and again, with the idea that the general standard is in-person meetings.
Thank you. Is there any comments or discussion or a motion on from the board members?
I'll make that motion to approve.
The motion is by Patty, second by Jeremy. Any other further discussion?
I just wanted to point out to the public that it's stated in the policy statement as such. This policy provides alternatives to in-person meetings during times of, and I just want to stress the word, public emergency or circumstances which otherwise make it in-person meetings impractical or impossible.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I am an aye, but opposed? No opposed. Fourteen. Consider a possible action on land division proposal on address and parcel for a resulting detached accessory structure prior to the dwelling and associated permit requirement. In other words, we have a parcel that is wishing to be split. It has a shelter or a building on it, which would be standalone, would be against our ordinance, and they're asking for a consideration, correct?
I think that's accurate. I believe there's representatives from both the seller and the buyer here. But just generally, a CSM was submitted to the town. That CSM does split the property. One of the resulting parcels is just an accessory structure. Of course, our ordinance does not allow a parcel with just an accessory structure. And because of that, the request was made to grant a time period by which the person with the resulting lot with the accessory structure would have to build their principal dwelling. That request is in your packet, along with, I believe, an agreement that was submitted as well as a supplement. In the past, you've had these come before you and considered the applications. As the zoning administrator received it, of course, this can't proceed on until there's some resolution to this portion of it. The other note is that the CSM doesn't have public dedications, and so it would go just to the Plan Commission. Therefore, it was deemed more prudent to bring it to this town board first to get an idea of whether or not there would be an agreement to have that resulting parcel for a period of time, have an accessory structure before the Plan Commission considers the CSM. And as I said, I believe there are representatives from both the seller and the buyer here.
Is there questions from the board? Otherwise, I could
I was just gonna
make one
a
comment. Go ahead.
yeah.
You're probably going to think the same thing I am, so go right
Yeah, I
ahead.
was gonna make the comment that I'm glad that you've submitted an agreement between the contractor and the owner, indicating that they have a contractor already lined up to build the house. So we do have that in writing, saying that there is intention. And then they also talk about the date of commencement, that they'll start working on it. So that is a little bit more comforting to me as far as making an approval for this.
I totally agree with you, Patty. The only thing I would suggest is that we put a definitive date out there, maybe at the end of calendar year 2022. If it's not done, that the structure needs to be removed. And I don't think that would be,
There's a date in the contract that says by the 1st of September 2022.
and then we could use that
That they're
date.
gonna start, commence working.
That's when it's going to be done or commenced.
It says shall be substantially completed, the
Yeah.
first day of September 2022.
Is there any
It says in the
issues, you're
contract.
representing them, or?
I'm representing the seller. and,
Mr.
Jim
Boris,
Sears,
please, the letter.
Okay. I mean, we're just looking to have something firm, and you believe it's going to be done by that? I mean, it's, or do we want it at the end of the year or something?
Yeah, there will be a building there by midsummer.
Okay.
May not be finished. but-
Well, I understand that. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
that's our intention.
That's our intention.
Okay. If you're comfortable, go ahead, Bill.
Can I just ask a question? Does this set a precedence?
No, so we have considered these. You may recall, we've considered it
Yeah.
when somebody's done it and asked for forgiveness after.
Yeah.
We've also considered it where it's done more appropriately, like it is here, where before things go through, it's come before you. It does not set a precedent. In fact, this in a lot of ways gives some assurances, and I would almost also recommend that where we have approved it in the past, we've also had an agreement signed by both the requester and the chairperson, setting in place the terms as you've just stated them.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by William,
Oh, did you already?
Well, no, I was gonna say, as Nick has indicated, that we should have a contract created by the
signed agreement.
attorney to have the requester and the chairperson sign what the contingencies as far as having the building on there. If not,
Substantially completed.
yeah.
My motion is what she said.
Okay,
And was there a second?
I'll second.
Jeremy? Any other discussion? Hearing none? All in
are we
favor?
all clear with?
I think so.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Congratulations on finding a contractor. I heard they're hard to find.
All you gotta do is pay them lucratively, so.
Isn't that the truth? All right, item 15 is consideration and possible actions on the 2021-2022 liquor license. I will be abstaining from the vote as I am on one of the applications, so I will be abstaining, but I will. You have the list in front of you. Do you want it read, or what would you like?
They all have been approved by Chief Peterson, and if you see on your table today, I did get that new agent for the store, which is in your stack tonight, so that has been approved also, so everybody is good.
I'll make a motion to approve the list as approved by the chief of police.
Motion by William,
Both lists?
seconded by Amber. Any discussion?
I just
And
want to clarify, it's both lists.
This is just the liquor
Oh,
license,
just-
operator license
not
come
this-
later.
operator license is
Just this
separate.
one list.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we ever have that issue anymore where we have to make sure that all their liquor bills are paid anymore, or did that get thrown out?
If there was an issue, but there isn't, there's no issue, so.
Okay.
And
I know
everybody will
in
have
years
to have
past-
things paid before we issue the license by the end of
Okay.
June.
Oh, that was my next question.
No, they
You
won't
remember
get
that
it.
too, huh?
I do.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
I'm an aye, anybody opposed? No opposed? 15 is done. Consider a possible action on recycling in solid waste committee's recommendation for upcoming choose to reuse event. And what did you find out
Yes.
from your meeting, after your meeting, what did you find out?
Well, I found out in the cost for the suggested move to the Grand Rapids Lions would probably be too much. And it would be a 3-day thing. And I talked to one person from it. He's your maintenance guy, he's always there. And I talked to him, and he said that you were booked that month, for one thing, and I know you
I
did the booking.
indicated that to you at your meeting, yes.
And also spoke to the county, and the county is not in favor whatsoever of having it where they have the water ski show at the Southwood County Park. It would create the same situation, probably even worse, they thought, but as long as there was a dumpster there, they do not have the cameras, and that would be a 3-day charge of $125 a day. Because it would take place on Saturday, Sunday, dumpsters would not be removed. Monday is when we have cleanup and do it, and they would charge us. And they're not really interested in it. So,
No other options, is what you're saying?
no other options. And I also checked on the calls that the police department got. One of them was from somebody that lives on 28th Street. I went over and talked to him about it, and he says, no, he does not want it anymore because it's too much traffic, and the worst thing is, he said they parked on my lawn. And I said, well, where did they park? And they were parking on his lawn, but that way. And I said, well, it's what we could do here, because this is a mail truck drive. We could do like they do at the ski show and just take that area off for people for no parking. He said that'd be fine with me. That's the only complaint. I checked with 3 other neighbors, and they have no problem with it. And one woman says, now that I found out what you guys got down there, that's the day I had my rummage sale. So,
Okay,
and then I also checked with a company to see about getting rid of that, to see if that big black tar pile would be able to be removed, and they're gonna take a look at it this Thursday and Friday, just to see if there would be a possibility of removing that pile. If so, then, of course, I'd get a quote before giving a go-ahead, but that would allow a different exit and a longer way for vehicles to be moving, so that there isn't, just a short span where vehicles are parked.
and what about the concerns that the police department had on traffic? What's your target or your goals? What are you tending to?
well, we're intending to have it longer. That last time it was our last one of the year. And the first one of the year that we usually have is at the same time that Port Edwards is having their rummage sales. So that cuts down on a lot. But in September, when we had our last one, what happened was we shortened the hours from 8 o'clock till noon.
Right.
And that caused a lot of people. We cut off nobody getting in line at noon. But we still had a long line because they knew that, so. And that's it. And we're going to extend our hours that way, and we think we can make it more flowing if we can get that other driveway opened up.
Well,
And
there is 2 driveways. There's one just barely over the
Right, this
culvert.
would
that
be
you-
actually 3.
this would,
This would be 3
That
exits.
you could be shaking them out that way. And
There'd be like 3 Because the very first year that it was super busy, we had that blacktop driveway utilized before the blacktop pile was dumped there.
Mel,
And
did
then
you-
another good,
Go ahead.
excuse me, and
Yeah.
then one other good reason too is the town of Grant had a choose to reuse a couple weekends ago.
Yes.
So that's one community that has already had one. They only had it for their area,
Residents.
their residents there, so.
It's kind of interesting. Mel, did you have any comments you wanted to enter into the board's thoughts?
Just somehow, you know, like I said, I'd like to see a new site, a different site, but if we can't do that, then modifying somehow the traffic flow, because the way it's been set up in the past, you get one or two vehicles with a trailer on behind that's dropping off stuff, and that's all you can fit in there at one time, and the rest of the traffic has to back up on the street. And that's where we're getting the problems, is when it backs up onto the street, and you know, people are waiting in line, and then the people that are going to the event, you know, that creates a problem for them, you know, just traveling, you know, on that route. That's I don't think people realize what a popular route that is, coming down 32nd and then going up 2 Mile instead of Airport. You know, go there some morning and get gas first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock, and I think you'd be amazed at the number of vehicles that use 2 Mile there to go down to 32nd, and then they're going north on 32nd, and the same thing for vehicles coming south on 32nd, and they go down 2 Mile. There's a lot more traffic on that road than what people think.
And you're including a Saturday?
Yes, yep.
I haven't found that. I really haven't, any day of the week, and, but,
We put traffic colors out there.
There you go.
you know, would
Any
you
other
put-
questions on the side of the table? Well, I'm myself concerned with traffic. I would maybe consider a one more try at it, and if it turns to be a mess with traffic backed up all over the place, we're gonna have to try to find something different.
So would we do that for auctions? Would we do that for group and rummage sales within the area? This is just twice a year, and we have the auxiliary police. They never mentioned anything, and we pay them out of our own pocket to be there.
I hear the feedback from the auxiliary, and they're the ones that are taking the brunt of from the people waiting in line to drop off, and they're the ones that are taking the negative feedback, let's put it that way, from the people waiting in line to drop their stuff off, because they're out there in the roadway waiting to do it. And then the other thing is the number of people that go there and camp out, and, you know, where are you putting them? That creates a problem too. So, you know, I'm totally support the event itself. It's great. It's just that I feel you've outgrown that location, and there has to be a concerted effort to try to find something more amenable that can handle the traffic flow, you know?
We did try.
Yeah, well, yeah, I heard that.
So maybe we ought to just consider trying it for Grand Rapids and not use it, letting Rapids and everybody else.
That would
come
be
in.
impossible.
Yeah, we started considering.
Well, how does
it.
Grant get it done?
Because they have a drop-off site. They have a gate. You have to have a pass to get in to your garbage and recycling that they put in there. And then they pay a fee to go in there to drop off their stuff.
So if we were checking a license.
Same way
every
with the
car
town
that
road.
came.
So they hold it at their transfer site like Rome does?
Yeah, like Rome holds it at their transfer site. And it's only Rome residents can use the transfer site.
Well, Rapids doesn't let us use their pool, so why should we let them choose to reuse?
Well,
They're gonna let you use the
because we're
railroad
better
right away.
neighbors. We're better neighbors than that.
All right, is there a motion to allow them to continue this year?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bill, second by,
I'll second for continuing this.
okay, any other discussion? And that is from 8 till 2, correct?
8 to 2 with the, yes, that's the time the event will be held, 8 to 2.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have an aye, anybody opposed? Good. Give it a try.
Did those two vote? I didn't hear. Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw them.
Okay, I didn't hear them.
Thank you.
Consider with possible action on enforcement of Ordinance 55, regulating the sale and use of fireworks. Bill, you asked us to be on here?
Yes, they did. I just think it's out of hand around my area. I get calls about it because they know I'm on the town board. I called, other people have called, and we have seen the police department come out there and ask the people if they were firing it off, and no, they weren't. And here sat the rocket launcher aimed right at our garage from across the road. Now, if that don't tell you that they were setting it off, you know, and I believe 3 or 4 times they were called last year, and it was terrible. And I'm wondering,
So I guess what are you offering for a solution? What is your solution?
well, that we enforce the ordinance.
We can't enforce it. It's the police that enforce it, correct me, Nick?
Yes.
That's who's called.
Yeah, we can't enforce it, the board. It's an ordinance violation if they issue it, correct?
It's an ordinance violation of who issues it.
If the police department issues it, a ticket, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can authorize it too.
No, I can't.
The town chairman can. Oh, okay.
This, I don't know of a town chairman in Grand Rapids that ever issued that.
No, I know, but the town of Saratoga, their town chairman issues.
Well, that's,
Well, I'm just saying.
Some towns do, yes.
No, no. And it's not up to the board.
Typically, it's either chair, ordinance control officer, police department, and where there's a police department, it's usually them who get calls, investigate it, and issue the citations.
I mean, even if they issue a ticket, there's investigation to determine who did it. I mean, obviously, I don't know the workings of the ordinance because we just make them, we don't enforce them ourselves.
Well, a lot of our ordinance is pursuant to state statute.
statutes.
Right. So what I hear is that Bill is asking, or the residents are also asking, that the police department enforce a policy or an ordinance that's already in existence, and just to enforce it more than it has in the past. That's what I
Yeah.
hear.
And this is why we give $1,000 to the city, so people can go there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we do it. So people don't have to do it in their house. Now, you know, I said, they could authorize it at the Lions Club, for instance, had, the Grand Rapids Lions had fireworks.
No, it wasn't the Lions, it was at the Lions. It was done from the National Honor Flight Society fundraiser.
Somebody authorized them to do it there,
They had to
right?
get a permit, I imagine.
They had it, from who?
Fire chief. He's the one that issues the permits.
Okay, so can that be authorized, that they, instead of having it in their houses, that they can have it out at the Grand Rapids Fire thing?
There's a lot of restrictions, $1 million liability policy, and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes with it in order to,
So do it at your home because there's no restrictions.
well, that's what our ordinance says. You must have a $1 million liability policy.
gotta be a licensed pyrotechnic, if they have $1 million insurance policy, and I can pull an application out, I got one on my desk.
Yeah, there's a permit required.
It's like a
Permit.
three-page document explaining what they have to do.
So it's just not anybody can walk in the door and say,
Oh,
hey,
no.
fire chief, I
So if you
wanna,
walked in, unless
I would
you're
not-
hiring a licensed pyrotechnic with insurance,
yes.
yeah. And there's maximums on the charges they can use, and it's
Yeah.
like a 3 or a 5-page document.
So somebody gets a call here in ordinance, in the ordinance 39, number 55, possession or use of illegal fireworks, sales of illegal fireworks, $25 to $300 or $50 to $1,000. That's in our ordinance
Mhm.
For fines.
for fines.
That's the
That's it.
forfeiture schedule
Yeah.
for this ordinance,
Yes.
55.
And also, we're extremely concerned about fire hazard, because wasn't it this year that we just created that lantern ordinance?
yeah, you bet.
So that's another reason why we should really enforce it, and especially this year, it's gonna be more drought than in prior years. So I don't know if there's a motion to be made here or anything, or we're just really discussing the need to ensure that people realize that they cannot be shooting off fireworks, that there are consequences and fines attached to it.
We could probably do a PSA announcement through Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Fire chief could maybe do a short announcement and have them play it a few times here and there. I mean, we can try anything you want to try to get it. I mean, I've ridden around the town with the previous fire chief on the July 4th with him for 3 hours, trying to find out where all the fireworks were coming from. Every time we get there was nothing there anymore. So,
Well, I think, like when they used to have the car show going through here, and Corvettes of the North or something like that, we put on extra patrol, here, and we also, the Wood County Rescue was available, directing traffic and things like that,
That's true.
I just think extra things could be done.
there's more than one officer on. All right, I don't know if there's anything that we can, in any language, just asking, I mean, if that's what you're asking, we'll ask directly the chief. I mean, you could have.
To make a public
Yeah.
announcement. And then, I don't know, do something extra special on our website? Just to bring attention to that?
Cross through the
Amy?
fireworks.
Yeah, Amy, our keeper of our website. Thank you.
Okay. Any motion needed? If not, we'll move. 18 is consider a possible action on the per diem policy. It's really not a possible action on it. I just wanted to bring it, especially we have a new board member here, what the policy is on per diems. And all meetings which necessitate the attendance of a town official be channeled through the town chairperson first, with the exception of the regularly scheduled meetings that do not need prior approval, which are town board meetings, regular town board committee meetings. Note, when a representative of a town committee at an external meeting or function, when approved by the town chairman, only the chair of that or his designee will be compensated for that attendance. Wisconsin Towns Association unit meetings. Note, district meetings and seminars shall require town board approval for registration. And the town advocacy council are also approved. So basically what the policy is, these are accepted. If you wish or desire or have the need to attend a meeting of another one, you need to either bring it to the board in time, if there's more time for the board to approve it. If there's not, you can contact the chairman, and the chairman may give you permission to attend it and therefore reach your per diem for that. So basically that hasn't been followed for a policy for a while. So I have decided that I will start approving all vouchers before the clerk has them. And if I have made notes that somebody called me about a meeting, I will let her know that that meeting's been approved, and she can therefore pay the voucher. If a voucher is denied, or an item is denied on that, that I would deny, then you are eligible to come to the next town board meeting and explain the reason why you should be paid for that per diem, and it could be resolved then. If not, we need to follow what our rules are, so this is our rules.
I'd like to make a motion to take this to the legislative committee, this issue.
You can make a note to change this, but you can't take how I act on it.
I would like for this issue to go to the legislative committee
I can
for
second that.
discussion.
I can second that, because I had some concerns too with it. If we can discuss it at legislation. and
It'll go to legislative committee, but for right now, I will follow what this says to the legislative
Oh,
committee as reads on.
that's how it usually works.
Right, exactly. So just so you're aware of it.
So it's, okay, so you're gonna put it on our next legislative agenda, right?
Not the next one, because it's too late for the next one.
That's for tomorrow.
Legislative.
Yeah, the following one.
It'll have to be
So
July.
you're saying you have the authority to deny vouchers? You have the, when we make a motion that everything here is okay, and you could say it's not, they'll take board approval for this?
Does it not say that the town official can channel through the town chairman first? Does it not say that here now?
Okay, so if I want to go to the annual convention,
Yes.
I have to get your permission?
You have to ask, we always ask that for a board, just like we do when we go to the monthly, quarterly, or the yearly towns association meetings in various cities. Clerk asks, who's gonna go on July 10th? Who's gonna go on the 15th? Who's gonna go, whatever. Those are always been approved by the board.
So because I went to this, and I got, and it cost the town, I forget how much,
$75.
$75. That I can't get a voucher for this because you didn't authorize it?
Did you get authorization to go there?
Yes, I did. I was signed
Then
up.
you did. But, wait a minute, you signed up. Did you talk with me or talk to the board first? If that's what you're referring to.
I talked to the clerk and she signed me up for it. So I was. 1 to 5 people could go for so much money. And I've been going to these spring conferences.
We have 1 day a year we go.
Yes, we do.
And how many days was it?
5 days,
5 days.
yes.
At how many hours a day?
3 hours a day.
And when we go in the spring, it's a 10-hour day by the time we're
Yeah.
back and forth, right?
Yeah.
You did ask me about it, correct?
I did ask you about going to this.
Yeah, and what did I say?
I don't remember
All right,
asking
it's
you.
gonna go to the committee. Let's let it go there. It's clear that we're not understanding each other. Any other discussion on that? We'll move to 19 disbursement vouchers.
You gonna take a vote
Did
on
we
that
have to,
first?
we have to take a vote? Moving
No,
to
I
the
can send, I can
legislative?
put it to legislative, can I? You
Or
got-
I'll just note it in in the folder, and the next legislative, I'll put it,
Okay,
I'll put it as.
not the next one, but the following one.
There was a first and second to move it to legislative, I think is what.
Yeah,
we had.
there
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you go. 19, May disbursement vouchers.
I did not have any questions.
Thank you. Hearing not, you're gonna pass the sheet around, is it on its way? Don't hang on to it this time, William,
I did?
No, he said,
last time. While we're doing that, the operator licenses, do we need to read those, or do you want to approve them as presented?
we can approve as presented.
That's a motion by Patty? Again, I will be abstaining because I'm on there. I've been tested.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Patty, second by Bill to approve licenses. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 abstention. Monthly reports from committees, Public Works, we did meet, made recommendations to the town board, which were approved last, at the legislative meeting for road projects for this year. Other than that, the road crew is still one man short due to time off. And anything else, chip sealing will get, or crack filling will get done shortly. And then we'll go on to try to get that town line road taken care of. Questions? Airport Commission did not meet. We're meeting actually this Thursday. I can tell you that air traffic is up substantially over last year, and it's running still 20% ahead of what it was in 2019. Traffic is very heavy coming in. In a 10-minute period this morning, 3 big jets came in, one from New York, one from Panama, or yeah, not Panama, Palm Springs, and one from Nashville, I believe it was. But lots of people coming in. The new fuel system has been approved by the state. Bids have been let out. The sad part about it is construction lead time on tanks and cabinetry is so far behind that it probably will get done about December. But it's better late than never. We'll move to recycling and solid waste. William.
Okay, recycling and solid waste. Of course, you have the agenda there. In our last meeting, everybody got any questions because the minutes were in your packet, so.
Just a quick question. Nick, were you able to be there at night or no? You didn't get there? All right. Go ahead, I have a question for Nick.
Okay, and so one of the other things we're going to be doing is now that the DNR is, the people that have notified me about it, we're gonna probably have a meeting on the water issue and go through that with the DNR and what we can do and can't do.
Are they able to come out and meet in person now?
Yes, they are.
Okay, is that just in the last week or so?
Yes,
You
just
got that?
that's what I heard.
Okay, 'cause I'm still waiting for a DNR guy to let me know that they're able to get out. Nick, did you have any update from Dale on the contract language?
No, my understanding is Dale was intending to put together a proposal of some sort to the town and present that to either recycling and solid waste or eventually the board. I have not seen anything from Dale, although I certainly can reach out if you'd like me to. But beyond just initial correspondence, my understanding was he was putting together something to propose to the town to consider, and I just haven't heard or seen an update on it.
And he's got to get back to me because of the oil leaks and all the complaints we had. We had two citizens at the committee meeting in which Dale was quite surprised to hear what they had to say and was going to look into it. So we can try to have a follow-up.
One of the other things that come up in there, it seems like, I don't know if we're necessarily following our procedure that is in our contract with the complaints. They are supposed to go to them first.
They do.
But I heard you say that people were calling you.
Right,
The people were calling me because the office sent them to me.
right.
Okay, well, then you ought to tell them. Now, we do now have a local number, is that correct, for them? I've tried their tree
Could
of
not
many.
get it today at all. There was 3 calls today about the pickup.
Yeah.
They could not get it today. They called the office here 3 times also, and then called Express or the recycling
Right.
place, garbage and advanced disposal, and by golly, I couldn't get through to them today.
I've tried many times, and Nick, I think let's make a little note on that we want to, in our language for the next contract we sign, if we sign with them, is that we have a specific way for our residents to report their things in a prompt, timely manner. Because I hate telling people I'll call you right back, and I can't call them right back because I can't get through to them either.
And we go to Dale. I go to Dale on it, and Dale gets back to these people.
Any other questions on the recycling solid waste? Do you know when you're going to have that water quality meeting?
No, I do not. I've got to check with some
And
people.
To that point, I will reach out to Dale and see if I have if I can receive an update if I receive an update, I will forward on any update to Recycling and Solid Waste for their next meeting, and then I will also copy you, Chairman.
Okay. You might as well just copy all the full board in so we all
I
have a
will.
look at it. Huh? Think it'd be a good idea. Huh?
I just have one more comment too for recycling and solid waste. With our community drop-off for brush, they're going to come in on June 10th and 11th and do that chipping, so that will be taken care of.
2 months late though, right?
Well, right. May 15th is when it was supposed to have been done, so it's
Not quite.
1 month.
Not quite 2 months then.
Right.
Are they gonna take that old wood too? That wood that's in the back, or are we still gonna keep that?
They can have all they want.
Well, because last time they said they would take it,
Well, yeah, and
but it was
then,
being saved for emergency government.
right.
Yeah, they
To take
they
care
ended
of,
up not taking it, I think.
right,
it just
because they were
kinda-
gonna use it for Southwood County Park to sell, but
Yeah, they didn't, apparently didn't
take
want
it
to
all,
work that hard.
take
did
it
they?
all, right?
COVID.
Anything on public buildings?
That's,
But, you haven't met yet. But we do need you to get going on it, because we do have that $10,000 in there for a study to see whether we could add something onto this building for their extra vehicle storage.
that, and also, I think you're involved in it, about the park over there. You had a meeting with Adam Decline the other day.
Buildings? Public
Yeah,
buildings?
no, the park. That's where Dan and I used to meet with Adam Decline on the park over there, and that's when we got $1,000 in the budget for mowing it. And
Well, there was some damage to the volleyball net.
yes, and it belonged to somebody else, I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, no. The volleyball net is ours. The soccer nets was brought over by the guy from Washington School, and he always would take the nets out. Is that correct, Amber?
Correct, yep.
Right, so
Yeah,
that's not ours. We had nothing to do with that.
so it's in our park and we had nothing to do with it?
No, he would put the nets up and take them down.
But, I mean, I got a call on it, they said they talked to you about it.
The residents, yeah, they asked when we're gonna put the nets up.
Okay,
So we have nothing to do with the nets?
Not the soccer nets.
Oh,
Volleyball nets, we
Right.
ordered a new one.
yeah, okay. They were talking about soccer net.
Right.
Oh,
and the grass not being cut.
I didn't.
It was a complaint, somebody lost the ball and couldn't find it. Did you hear that report?
No,
Well, it came to the office.
no. Well, they mowed it when they got to it. I mean, we're running one
No,
short this year,
okay.
you know that. Legislative, we've been meeting. Oh, Plan Commission, I walked right over you, Patty, I checked you.
oh, we're meeting next week, so.
Mhm.
But we're also gonna have a booth at the Firemen's Picnic. So we're gonna be sitting there to discuss the comprehensive plan, the draft, the preliminary draft. So if you see our booth sitting there, stop by and.
Gonna have balloons?
We're gonna have balloons, we're gonna have posters. We'll have a copy of the draft, so. Stop in and see us.
Any questions for Plan Commission? Legislative, we have been meeting
Tomorrow.
on some ordinances. We were meeting with some folks regarding UTV request to use the roads. Obviously, the board needs to take a long, hard look at that. And we will have Wood County Highway, Wood County Sheriff, and a representative from the Saratoga Club speaking to the board. So have your questions ready tomorrow. Public safety, nothing yet, right, Amber? Right? Economic development, is there anything you want to update us on?
Yep, so with the seed committee, I presented an update to them. Bill also attended and expressed his concerns for the funding coming to us. So there were some questions that were raised by the committee that I wasn't able to answer because we're in the planning stage and needs to come to, the Economic Development Committee and Town Board for approval before I can actually answer their questions. So they tabled it, and I'll just need to provide an update with those questions being answered.
Okay. Any questions? Personnel, we didn't have anything, right?
Not anything in addition to the
Right.
session.
Good. WTA meeting was in Saratoga.
Saratoga, yes, it was a very well-attended meeting. We were speakers we had there from the Saratoga solar project. They're having another project coming up on it. So they'll have two in the town of Saratoga, and it's going to be called, when it takes hold, it's going to be called the Saratoga Solar Project. The elected officials that had representatives there from Tom Tiffany's office, we had representative from Senator Johnson's office, and Nancy Vandermeer was also there, a legislator. And Larry Konopacki, the attorney for the Towns Association, was there speaking for the Towns Association because none of the representatives show up. And as you saw in the minutes that our one District 2 representative, she is resigning. What's her name?
Sharon.
Sharon, yes. She is resigning due to health conditions. So it was a very good meeting, well attended. One of the questions asked, and I said give you a copy of the minutes, but one of the questions was asked is by the town chairman for the town of Millador. And she got up and asked a question. She wanted to speak to the group about their going through their first comprehensive plan and wanted to know the show of hands of how many people are going through it. And then they came to how many people already have a plan, and town of Grand Rapids was the only one that could raise their hand.
Well, Saratoga has one too.
Yeah, they're just finishing up on it. Yes, yes, they are. I don't
They're
think-
finishing an
Oh.
update, I believe.
Yeah, update, so. Yeah, but it was a good meeting, and our next meeting, regardless of what you read in the minutes, it's going to be June 18th, and you should have already got a notice of
Yeah,
it.
the St. Joseph in Altdorf, correct?
Yes, yes.
Back there.
Yes.
It's a nice
Right.
place to go to if you're free.
Yeah, it's
Good,
a,
good food too.
And the topic is ARPA funds, right?
yes, yes. So, and that's good to have that because.
The only one you missed, there was Daryl, what's his last name, from North Central Regional Planning there.
Oh, yes, and I handed you out that
Yes,
copy.
I passed that on to Amber information. She's gonna
Yeah.
contact him regarding the plans, the planning that they're able to do. We'll see what kind of
Yeah.
program they have available.
You pass that on to who?
Amber?
Amber. Oh, I thought you said Amy.
No, I was correct that time, Red.
Good job.
You got an A for it, Amber.
All right, move on to reports from town board individual members. Jeremy, got anything you want to bring up?
No.
Amber? I'll go next and answer Dave's question.
Okay,
Metallico.
yeah.
Yes, they are absolutely aware that they are in violation of the city's ordinance that regulates a decibel limit. They are more than 20 points above the 70 decibel limit that they are required to get to. They have equipment either on order or soon to be ordered to make design changes to the system that's supposed to bring it back down to below the 70 limit that the city has. Grand Rapids can't regulate it because it's in the city property. They are planning a plant shutdown in the end of this month. However, they are not sure that the equipment's going to get there in time to be done during their shutdown time. So I can assure you, and Dave, I didn't have your phone number. That's the only reason I didn't call you. I did call a couple others that I've been contacting with back and forth to let them know what I know.
I can give you my number if you want.
Yeah, we'll get it after the meeting here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, as we break up, because I do like to let you know as soon as I hear something one way or the other, because obviously everybody isn't concerned there on the sound being well above
Yeah.
the 70 limit.
It's real bad.
And it's a 12-hour period of time that they're doing the blast-offs from the
Yeah.
heat to get out from the ink,
Yeah.
it says.
It's like we have a jet in our backyard.
I understand
Yeah, and
that.
I'm about a third of a mile as the crow flies from that, and I hear it, and inside the house too, we hear it.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you.
One other thing, there's like 42nd Street have 5 people that are much concerned about it, and they're talking to city people about it.
Yeah,
And also that one guy, I'm not that technical savvy on this, but he said you can go on your smartphone and it'll read the decimals. Whenever you
Yeah.
hear that sound, it'll read the decimals. I didn't know that, but he,
Mine's a little dumber than that. Patty, do you have anything for us?
I just want, you were talking about spending the grant money that we received.
Yeah, I should probably back up. I can give you a little more information too.
In the Wisconsin Towns Association magazine, they started to talk about, it's not final as to where you can spend the grants, but they did talk about water and sewer. That is one of the possibilities already. So, that is something we may want to take a look at, being that we're going to be meeting.
Yeah, we will.
Utilize those funds
Right.
now that we have it, because we do have subdivisions that have suffered, not this year, because the water table is extremely low, but prior years.
Mhm. William?
yeah, one other thing, about going to these meetings. On Wednesday, June 30th, 2021, is going to be the WTA's district meetings. That's also in the,
I haven't seen that one yet, but
that's in June.
anything else?
No.
All right, let me go back to is it ARRA?
ARPA?
ARPA. I did attend the NATA seminar today. That was at 2 o'clock this afternoon. It was an hour and a half long. I will not be charging the town board for it. I did it for my own information only. Thank me, Bill. And there's considerable movement on some areas related, for example, buildings. Buildings, if you are correcting deficiencies and making it easier for people to vote, you may be able to expand a building. You may be able to buy vehicles such as ambulances based upon the regulations that are being there now. You may be able to buy a first responder vehicle for the EMS people that are going out there. You may be able to do other things for infrastructure, but definitely not roads. And we will not have a meeting until, and I'll let you speak on it too, Nick, until we have a firm understanding ourselves. We have until 2024 to spend this money. We're going to receive a grand total of $777,000 to Grand Rapids. It increased by $50,000 since the last estimate. Any update you have, Nick?
Just a couple points, and I would say, I think there's been stated 7 different permissible areas to expend the money on at this point. I know there's still exploration of what exactly some of those mean. Chairman, you're right, as far as infrastructure in road repairs is concerned, although I know there is also a specific provision related to loss of revenue. And so
Right.
I'm wondering if we've done that calculation, there's a specific calculation to figure out what that amount is, because that amount we can use for a number of expenditures, but I don't know if we have any amount in there.
Yeah, they are going to send a table to us.
I have that table.
Did you get it ready? Okay.
I have a number of things related to that calculation,
Okay.
and I can forward that on to our treasurer and clerk.
Yeah.
And also, have we gotten our first disbursement yet? I know some municipalities are.
Anybody see our bank account go up?
Not yet.
By the way, we can invest those funds in interest bearing, and we were able to keep the interest.
Well, there were some questions. I don't know that I've seen a definitive answer on if that interest is gained. Yes, we can keep it, but does it need to be spent on one of those 7 areas? I don't know that I've seen actual guidance on that yet.
The language that the gal that put it on, I think she's the president or the leader of that NATA, she indicated that the town should immediately invest it in revenues because they can retain that interest. So it doesn't apply to what I'm guessing, but again, we'll rely on Nick and the Towns Association to give us our definitive decisions of what we can do. We can also do things, the other thing I forgot is radios, new radios. We can replace all the radios that are worn out or aged out. We should be able to replace all those through that fund process. So that would be some considerable things that we can
And
do.
here on June 23rd, they're all getting together. It's going to be virtual, and it's going to be from 8 a.m. till 12:20. And I just give Nick one. And that's when Tommy Thompson, all the big shots about this are going to be on, even our Towns Association meeting.
All right, anybody, item 23, any additional public comment wishes to be made? Go ahead.
What about Budsmart?
All I can tell you is I know the work was done. We have not seen a report. Obviously, they're open, so that I would have to assume that everything was done, but we have not got a written report presented to us.
You're going to get one, you're supposed to.
I don't know if we can get one, but we certainly can ask the attorney that was working on it if he can provide the results, or obviously they wouldn't have been able to open up if they didn't resolve their issue, however it was.
Okay, back to the fireworks. I don't understand how you're gonna curb the problem if you don't find these people when it's the same people in the same night over and over and over. The officers come there, they know, it's not this situation where they don't know because they talk to the people. How many times do we want our police officers to go back to the same place? I just don't understand why it's so difficult to find these people. You know, I just don't. I mean, we're the police officers, I mean, they're running around for nothing. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Hearing none, then we'll move to item 24. Any future agenda items other than what we'll find? 25, Town Board will move into closed session pursuant to Stats 1985, Prin 1, Prin C, consider employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility for the purpose of discussing evaluation of the zoning administrative assistant's job duties. Who's making that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Patty, seconded by Amber. Roll call vote. Jeremy? Amber?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Patty?
Aye.
Arnie and I, we are in closed session, and Dave, I will see you